Welcome to Cold Steel's Deadliest Weapons. On this episode, we're talking about the Espada XL in G10. That's this beast right here. We're gonna get Lynn Thompson and Luke LaFontaine's opinion on it. But first, we gotta announce a couple winners of the Vaquero. That's Catherine Ryan and Operator Razor. You two need to email contests@gsmorg.com and put in the title line, Cold Steel Sweepstakes winner. You know, this is an absolute beast. Lynn has always called this his folding sword, and rightfully so, because if you just step back and cut rubber hose like that with no effort, you know it's real. Let's go out there and get Lynn's thoughts.
Thanks, Keith. I'm really excited about getting the chance to talk about why the Espada is one of the deadliest weapons that Cold Steel makes. Look at that blade. Let me open that thing for you again so you get the full magnificence of this knife. Look at that. 7.5 inches long, almost 2 inches wide, 5 or 4 millimeters thick blade. You know, this thing is a beast. Look at the width of that blade. It's got a really acute point. I always test the point right here on this tender part of your skin between your thumb and your index finger. If your hand wants to bounce away from that point, you know that point is sharp, and the Espada's point is needle-like. But you know what? It's not wimpy. When you take a look at this knife and you feel it here, this is not a wimpy, tiny, thin, fragile point. It's a pretty sturdy point for such a sharp clip point. And the blade bevel is quite wide, way more than 1 inch wide, and it's flat ground. So you have a lot of strength in that edge all the way across as I come through here. And you can feel the cross section is a really nice shallow V cross section. Why do I say this, and why am I so confident about this knife? Well, I've used this knife a bunch. This isn't like theory with me or conjecture. I've actually dispatched pretty big animals with this, and just with one thrust too. One thrust down, and the entire heart is split in half. So this has, why this is so deadly and dangerous is at 7.5 inches, it can reach all the vital targets in the body with a single thrust. And that's just for the thrusting. The cutting is phenomenal with this. If you look at this from the choil here, all the way to the tip, it's a continuous curve. What that does is anywhere this edge touches the target, that curve is going to concentrate the force and help to get a bite. And then as you push in and pull, that edge is going to be pulled all the way through, and the tip is going to drag out on the way out. Before I get to the handle, the triad lock on this knife is so strong I can't hardly describe it. The tang on this knife is quite wide here. So it's very hard for the material to crack across and give under enormous stresses. And it also passes Cold Steel's most severe impact tests. It's tremendously resistant to shock, and as it should be. When you make a knife this big, it better be save your life strong. It better be save your fingers strong, because if this blade snaps shut inadvertently on your fingers, you're going to be looking at, hopefully if you can find all the pieces, you're going to be looking at putting them all together in surgery and hope to God they all mend right. It'll cut your fingers right off. So this is why it has such a strong triad lock. And I'm really proud of Cold Steel. We were really responsible when we built this knife, that such a big, dangerous knife that has a lock strength to match its cutting and thrusting potential. So let's talk about the handle now. The handle gives you 1 grip, 2 grips, and 3 grips, or 4 grips. So I can actually cut thread with this thing. So right now with a 7.5 inch blade, I can come back to here and I have 11.5, 12 inch reach. I can come back here on the end and outreach probably the longest Bowie knives on the market. This is fantastic in cutting. One of my wife's favorite names for me is T-Rex. I have short arms, and she says, "You have short arms, but you're very dangerous." My arms are 3 inches shorter than hers even. So my arms are a little short for my size, and this helps me compensate. I like something that's extra long like this. It gives me a lot more reach, and I really enjoy that about it. All in all, I couldn't recommend a more deadly, dangerous folding knife than the 7.5 inch Espada. Get you one.
Hey Cold Steel fans, let's get right into Cold Steel's deadliest weapons with the XL Espada. Look at the size of this knife. Love this thing. It's, one of the standards at Cold Steel. Beautiful knife. Based off of a Spanish Navaja. Now, the Spanish Navaja up in the mountains, you had countrymen and regular folk that needed a weapon for self-defense. And when you're up in the mountains, when you were in rough terrain, people weren't always going to carry swords. As well as not everyone was allowed to carry swords. So when you're talking about the 1700s in Spain, people would carry a navaja, which is a large knife. Now, this is absolutely a fighting knife. This knife is a period knife for self-defense. The Spaniards fought with this knife. This was not a utilitarian knife. This was for self-defense. Now, men and women carried this knife, and usually they would carry this knife in a large sash. So they'd be wearing a large sash with a belt over it, and the knife would be stuck and hidden in the belt. And at the time, it would pull out, and they'd be ready to take care of themselves and deal with any oncomers or foes. Fantastic knife. Beautiful updated version of a historical weapon, and one of Cold Steel's deadliest.
All right, there you have it, the Espada XL in G10. You heard Lynn talk about it, you heard Luke talk about it. This is an absolute beast, and if you want a chance to win one, I need you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's right, make sure you subscribe. We're gonna draw one lucky winner to win this Espada XL G10. Well, a new one. So, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you again when we show you another piece of super deadly steel. For Stickman, I'm signing out.